Alrighty, so this is going to be a surprise for the kids because it's still a continuation of Vacation Bible School. So I had a part that I did with you guys. You remember it? Yeah.
Ten Commandments.
10 Commandments. So we learned the 10 Commandments on our hands. So I'm going to put this down because I can't do them and hold it at the same time. But I'll do them with you and we'll see about... We got to do it loud because then Mike can hear it in the back because he might have forgot. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. 1.
Now
Put God first. Yeah. 2.
Cut out all the
idols out of our life. Yep. 3. Watch your words.
And don't say God's name in vain.
Don't say God's name in vain. All right. 4.
This is my family.
This is my family. Take them to church. This is my family, take them to church, and worship. Yeah, you have to let us catch up with you. Whoa. So, 5, this is our family, honor our father and our mother. Hoorah! All right, and then 6, this is my family, it's my weapon, don't harm your family. Right, thou shalt not commit murder. All right, 7. This is my family. And 2 of them sneak off to commit adultery. Do not commit adultery. That's right. So 8. Thou shalt not steal. Right? Yeah, because in Bible times, if you stole, you had your thumbs cut off. So that's 8. Do not steal. And then number 9. Do not lie. That's right. And number 10, don't look at other people's stuff. Don't wish for other people's stuff. Don't covet. Great job. And so I wanted to show everybody that how good of a job you guys did. So thank you very much. And it was like that on the 3 nights. We learned 3 the first night, 3 more the second night, and then the other 4 the third night, and we had a great time learning them. So, are you going to take them down? Or?
Katie is.
Katie is. All right, Katie. You guys are going to go down for the now, Lighthouse kids.
Okay, you guys, you can go down.
Terry, while the kids are going out, can I make a confession why you're chuckling at Lighthouse Kids?
Oh, I could tell on myself, yeah.
Okay.
Because when I asked Rodney if he's going to have the Lighthouse Kids, I didn't say Lighthouse. I said Watchtower.
And I wasn't sure what he was talking about, and then when he said Watchtower, I'm like, wait a minute, Watchtower? So, I'm like, we got the wrong route.
So, yeah, and those of you who don't know, Watchtower is a magazine put out by the Jehovah's Witnesses. But however, I think it's in Ezekiel that he is told to be a watchtower. And so Watchtower is more biblical because they didn't say lighthouse. I can make excuses except for my old brain just couldn't get the right word. And lately that's been a whole lot of problem. So I am hoping to get the right word now. So Laura, would you pray for me before we start?
Lord, we thank you so much for this day and your many blessings on us, God. That we thank you that we're able to be here this morning, Lord. We thank you that you've laid your word upon Terry this morning, God. And we just pray for him as he delivers that message, God, that our hearts would be open and our ears would be open and minds would be open, God, to what you would have us to learn and gather from your message this morning, Lord. And just be with us this week, God, that we can live those things out. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, if I was to speak on everything that God's been talking to my heart about this week, we'd have to have lunch brought in.
Cool.
Because it would be a long time.
Are you right?
That's for sure. Yeah. We'll take an offering for it, Mike. So, the first, I'm going to read from Matthew chapter 17, and one verse. This is kind of going to get us started where we're going to go. We'll go from there. He said to them, because of your little faith, this was making reference to why they couldn't do something, because of your little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have the faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Well, moving a mountain doesn't seem like that big a deal to us. We fly over the top of them all the time, and they look very small when we're flying over the top of them. We've tunneled through them. We've made roads over the top of them. We can get around the mountain, no problem. So it's not as critical to our everyday life as it was in Jesus' time. That could make a fairly short journey very long. And I would imagine most of the time they had to deal with the mountains. They weren't on vacation, so it wasn't a time of enjoyment to have those mountains. But there is something that can be removed from our lives that seems like a mountain. And so what comes to my mind, our mountains are the sins in our life. There's a sin in your life that's a mountain. It's impossible to get around. It's impossible to get over. But to help us really kind of have a clue, I have visual aids. So that I have visual aids is no surprise to any of you. I needed to get a stiffer board. This would be a lot easier with a stiffer board. Or two hands. Anyway, this represents different kinds of sins. And I didn't label the sins, because for some of you, this one is one kind of sin. For others of you, this one is a different sin. Some of you may have no problem with that. Maybe for some of you, this is lying. Maybe we don't make a big deal out of it in our church nowadays. As a matter of fact, I read an article that said 9 sins that are acceptable in the church as long as you love Jesus. Lying was one of them. Justifying what we do, getting out of trouble, deceitfulness. It's okay because he loves Jesus. Well, not really. It is something that person probably struggles with. But then there might be, for some people, that might be gossiping. The church as a whole kind of looks at this one as sexual immorality, mostly homosexual. And so, consequently, that's the one that's the big one. Whereas murder, well, you could murder somebody and you're going to be okay. Just confess your sin and you'll be all right. It's all over. Well, yeah, just because you hate people around, that's not so bad. Except for Jesus did say something about when you hate someone, that's murder, right? So consequently, that might be pretty big. But for each of us, sometimes we look at the sins in our life and we see, oh man, I just can't get to God. Look at that sin in my life. Sometimes we use this to measure other people's sin. We go like, I can't handle anybody who lies. They could do anything else but lie. And so that big one is their sin. And so consequently, we just are going to be resistant to having them as friends or working with them or helping them out. You know? One of the things that we need to really understand is God sees sin more like this. It's sin. It's a barrier to the relationship that He has with you. It's sin. It keeps you from the fullness of God. Now, when we think about sin keeping us from something related to God, we usually think about keeping us from heaven and we're going to go to hell. But I think that we need to even look at it a little differently. It keeps us from the fullness of God. What is the fullness of God? The fullness of God would be removing that mountain from your life. The fullness of God would be knowing His presence wherever you're at. Relying on Him. That part where you crawl in His lap to just be held. That would be the fullness of God that we miss out because we choose to have sin in our life. Now, if we just want to measure those sins, it would probably be a whole lot more accurate if we did it like this. With the top being like the rim of the Grand Canyon. There are different depths to the Grand Canyon. But the one rim is a long distance from the other rim, and you're not going to jump across. And Jesus talks about in the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, the fact that the rich man goes to eternal torment. He goes to hell. And Lazarus is in the bosom of Abraham. And the rich man is crying out for just a little visit, a drop of water. And it says there's an abyss between the two, and they can't get together. So if we see sin as the fact that we're on one rim and God is on the other, and that abyss between us, and we can't get to it. However, because of His love for us, He created a bridge that crosses that. Doesn't matter how deep it is, at what point, it crosses it. It allows for us to come in the presence of God. So I was thinking a lot about sin in our life. What's that like? Sin in our life. I'm going to pick on something that we eat. I could pick on a lot of different ingredients because a lot of them are, well, like this ingredient, they're in a lot of things that we eat. Some of them, though, are necessary. I could pick on salt because some people have to cut down on salt and shouldn't have as much salt. The blood pressure thing, you know? But you've got to have salt because if your body doesn't have enough salt, it won't work right. So that's an important thing. But what I'm going to pick on, you don't have to have. But you get it all the time. I'm picking on sugar. Sugar as a relationship to sin in our lives. Now, you've all probably come in contact with somebody who's going on a sugar fast. They're not having any sugar for, let's say, a month. Sometimes you get really tired of them after a week because they're telling you how much sugar's in that and in that. And because they're having to do without, they're making a big deal about the fact they've gone for a week with no sugar, and you're going like, big deal. Well, it is a big deal because it's like trying to go without sin in your life at all. We're cutting it all out. Nope, no sin. And yet, there it is. You know, I'm a diabetic, so I'm supposed to watch what I eat as far as carbohydrates, which I didn't do this morning. And I do sometimes do a pretty good job of it because I don't want to get insulin. Okay? So, you know, protein is a good thing. I got jerky. Just so happens I really like jerky. I love jerky. And then I'm going like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm going to read this, the ingredients here. Beef, water, sugar. They put sugar in my jerky. Why? Because I have a taste for sugar and sweet things. And they know it. They know I'll buy more and eat more, and Sweet Baby Ray's is probably sugar than other things, but I like it. So, I want to be healthy and eat the right things, omega-3 stuff, I want to get that. Here's this omega trail mix. Boy, that has got to be good, doesn't it? It just sounds good. It's got omega in it. Yeah, well, there's omega-3 and omega-6, but this, I think, is supposedly omega-3. So that's the ones we want. We already get way too much omega-6 anyway. Don't get me going on that stuff. So, I'm like, all right, let's go cranberries. Have you ever noticed you cannot eat just cranberries? Because they don't make them just cranberries. You could get a bag of just cranberries, but I'll bet you if you're going to eat them, you're going to add stuff to it. Sugar is what they usually add because cranberries are extremely tart. You can get dried cranberries that taste great and you add them to salads and stuff like that because you think it's healthy and stuff. There's sugars added to it. And when it says a sugar as an ingredient, it's not talking about the fact that cranberries themselves have some sugar in them. It's talking about we added some, it didn't have enough. We know your taste for sin, so we added it. We know your taste for sugar, so we added it. We added it. So, cranberries have sugar, sunflower oil that's added, dried mangoes, sugar, citric acid. I know what the citric acid's for to keep it a good color. Otherwise, it'll oxidize. But it's got the sugar, because we like it. So it's roasted almonds. Hey, that's just sunflower oil, because it was roasted in oils. We got walnuts, pumpkin seeds. But still, sugar was added. So when we get to a point in our life where we're trying to get rid of sin in our life, like those people who are on those sugar fasts, we find that sin is prevalent everywhere. And you know what? Our world knows the taste we have for sin. And they put it in everything. You know what? This is one of those things you could go off on who cares what. You could get it everywhere. And we could just stay on the sugar and what you have diet and eat, because really I think the way we eat is sinful. But they put sugar in it, because you like it. So in our television programs, they put crude jokes, crude language. Why? Because you laugh and you like it. You watch it. They put violence in there. Murder, beating, dishonoring fathers. Oh my goodness. Dishonoring mothers. Why? Why do they put it in there? The world system knows that you like sin. So they put it in. If we took a stand against sin, why would they put it in? And if we take a stand now against sin, it's kind of like those crazy Christians. I hope I'm a crazy Christian. I want to be known for being a crazy Christian. I think that's where the song Jesus Freak came from. And we want to be a Jesus freak, especially if we could sing like that. But some of us just have to be Jesus freak. So, how do we do that? How are we getting rid of sin? You all know, without me telling you, that to do something on your own, just grit your teeth and do it, is nearly impossible. Especially when close friends just make sin available to you. So just get rid of anything violent that you watch. Well, man, anything violent. Do we count disrespecting? You know? Well, that's pretty violent, actually. So we get rid of that. Sin is made available to you in just about everything. Probably in the commercials. Some of those are more violent or sexually charged than the programs. So, how do we do it on our own? So, luckily, God gives us ways to do that. In 2 Corinthians 10, verses 3 through 6. For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. We don't fight on their grounds. We don't fight by their rules. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We just don't participate in their rules. Sometimes that makes you whatever a phobe in our current society. You could be an Islamophobe because you don't openly endorse or embrace Islam. Well, sorry, I think they're wrong. How do I do that? I can't. Well, I won't. So I'll be an Islamophobe. That's fine. God loves them. God desires a relationship with them. And so I'm not going to speak bad of them. So, the rest of those verses. Sorry, I got carried away. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God and take captive every thought. Or take every thought captive to obey Christ. Being ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete. So, I get to preach what I'm having to do in life. So, what's Terry having to do? Take captive every thought to obey Christ. What's that like? Well, sometimes that means, mostly is what it means, I have to go, whoa, stop, no longer participate that thought process. Stop it right there. God, I need to change my thoughts right now on this. So, one that's prevalent for men is the way some women dress. Very provocative. And if you go to Walmart, which you probably will at some point in life, and don't order everything on Amazon, because you could avoid it if you order everything on Amazon or one of those networks, you will probably see things that, for men especially, just go like, whoa! And where is your mind going from that first instance? Well, there are times where I have to go like, well, that's a pretty young lady. Ooh, stop. I don't need to go any further than that. And I need to change where I'm looking. I need to change what I'm thinking about. I need to get pepper, yes. So where is it? And I need to ask God for help. So this is one way that we can do it. That we turn and seek God in all things. Man, that guy is the way he is driving. The anger in my heart. Is that hatred for the way they're driving? Am I walking in sin at that moment? Am I almost ready to? If I'm almost ready to, God, I need to change my focus. If I am, Lord, forgive me. I know you love that person, and the way that they drive might be dangerous and stuff, but God, could you please protect them? Could you give them wisdom, insight? Can you change my thought pattern? So I watched a video this week of some people who are changing the erosion pattern of a large meadow that they have up in the mountains in Oregon. And in the spring, lots of rain and snowmelt happens in the west pretty much in the spring. And later in the summer, it's all dry and brown. But in the spring, when it's all rain and the snow melt and everything, rushing waters in their meadow, it all flows to this one place, and it takes the dirt away with it, and it causes erosion. So by the time they got this property, they're looking at it, and there's this wide path, probably about 6 feet wide, and it's 2 feet deep, where just the waters have rushed to and taken all the dirt away. So they want to change that, because the water rushes off their mountain, and it's much better to store the water where it's at. Okay? So what they did is they broke the banks down so it's gentle and stuff, and then they placed barrier so the water doesn't just flow through. So the water causes it to retain and set up on the land, or the barriers do, to set up on the land better, and it soaks into the ground where it needs to be. And it keeps it from eroding. When we have unchecked